It's the only person below White Holiday in the ComicsGate phone book. It's my favorite failed clone of Peter Sammetti. The YouTube WyzGyz. How you doing, Conrad? Welcome to the show.
Hello. Welcome to WyzGyz Entertainment. This is your host, Wyman. We are joined today by our special guest, Sunday John. How's it going, John?
It's going great, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man. Oh, absolutely. It's always great to have you and or Carla on the show of White Cat Comics.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I know we've been gone for like on and off kind of, but as you guys understand, this new life is it's no joke. It's no joke. I tell you, if anybody out there, has children or is planning on having children in the future, is just just be aware that you're not going to be getting much sleep for a while, at least.
Yeah, and from what I heard, when it comes to delivery, actually the birthing process or whatever, they with this whole COVID thing, they only allow one loved one to attend the actual event, whereas they used to, if I'm not mistaken, allow other guests.
Yes. Well, yeah, I was the only one allowed. At least that's. I guess in our case, it's a positive thing because I feel like both grandmas had too much to say after, so I couldn't imagine handling the situation, and with both grandmas in there, I think I would have lost my mind, and it's not to throw any shade at my mom, but she can be a very opinionated woman, and and I don't know if I would have wanted to put up with that right there and then. So I'm glad. I'm honestly kind of glad I was the only one allowed in there. With you. Yeah. But you know what? We were in the hospital for such a short time, and we kind of we kind of found out much later, much after that. I guess it's very common for women for people to just stay 3 days or more at the hospital, after birth.
Oh, that long?
Yeah, even because little known secret, this might be TMI, but women do get stitched up after the fact, so the stitches have to heal and all that stuff, right? But in our case, is that everything wasn't so smoothly, and it was just such a walk in the park that we were back home the next day.
Next day, wow.
And Carla kind of told me that she told me after, because I would have said no, of course, but she told me that it was for me, basically because of me, because I suffer from these migraines, these really bad migraines, especially when I'm in a place that's like super closed and tight and not a lot of air flows, you know what I mean?
Oh.
And so of course that was kind of like the hospital room in which we were. I wasn't getting a lot of air, so when I woke up the next morning, I was puking and I had these horrible migraines. And of course, I asked the nurses. I mean, I'm at a hospital, if they could do something about it, but of course, because I'm not the patient, they couldn't. So, so I went to the nearest druggstore, to the nearest pharmacy. Got some medicine and started feeling good, but then Carla kind of felt guilty. She's like, let's just go home. I feel good anyway. And she did. For the most part, she was okay. She could walk and everything was fine. But I guess we could have taken a little bit more advantage of being at the hospital, hadn't it been for me puking all over the place there. And acting like I just had the baby instead of Carla. You know what I mean?
That was your first sign of morning sickness.
Right.
Puking all over.
Right, yeah. Right.
Oh, man. Did you have to, whenever I see, them like doing, birth-related stuff on TV programs,
right?
They talk about how the father dresses up in doctor's outfit with mask and everything. Did you guys have to do any like double mask wearing or? stuff like that.
Let me tell you, I didn't even wear gloves. Let me put it like that. And I asked the nurse if it was something that was required, but no. And as you all might know the story, I ended up delivering the baby because the doctor didn't show up in time. And it's not her. It wasn't her fault because it just so happened that both Carla and the woman next door kind of started delivering the baby at the same time. But Carla was expected to come much later. It just like it was just one of those things that the baby just decided, you know what, I'm coming out now, regardless of what anybody says, you know. And so the doctor was attending to this other birth that was going on next door. Really, you could hear the screams of the woman. But of course, Carla, she was, you know, she was fine. She wasn't screaming or crying or anything. She wasn't even in pain. So she's laying in bed, and me and the nurse just kind of start, you know, coaching her through the whole thing because we haven't gotten any classes about, you know, childbirth or anything because of COVID, right? They usually like kind of coach people into what to expect and how to do it, but this wasn't available to us because of COVID. So we were kind of learning right there and then, especially because of this wonderful nurse that we had. I'll never forget her. She was really amazing. And she was kind of coaching us through it, and just the practice alone was enough for the baby to just basically come out. And it made it worse that I started making Carla laugh, and I guess the laugh pushed the whole baby completely out. and so not only was I completely unprepared, but I was not wearing any kind of what you call it, TPP, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
I was not wearing any of that. I was just wearing my mask John thing, and it was like below my nose anyway. and you know, and with the running around and everything, because it was just one nurse and myself. So I did have to get in. You know, I had to get dirty and you know, roll up my sleeves and work for that baby. I tell you, because it wasn't after the baby was born that all these nurses and the doctor just flocked in, but it was a good 5-10 minutes after that even. So you know what I mean. So yeah, it was a wild experience. But no, I didn't have to wear gloves or anything or the whole gown, nothing, none of that.
And you weren't busy like recording everything on video?
I was trying to, but you know, it was a lot of multitasking, I gotta tell you, because between me having to hold Carla's leg and coach her through it and walk her through the steps, which again, it happened so fast that it was just me making a joke that made the baby eventually popped up, and also trying to record and, you know, following the nurse's instructions and doing all this. And then bringing this, bringing that, towels, pillows, blankets, all this stuff, right? And I was just running around all over the place, trying to not freak Carla out because, you know, of course, you want to keep her as calm as possible and be as reassuring as you can be, I would imagine. But Carla was fine. I mean, Carla was having the time of her life. So it was more me freaking out internally, like not really than what's actually happening. Yeah.
Sweet. Welcome out of Nui. Meep. How's it going, Aria Blackness? First comment award? Congratulations, Sunday John.
Thank you, Aria.
Hey, welcome, Edwin. The East launches January 31st, Acevedo. That's coming up real soon.
That is coming up, yep.
Right on. I know it's been quite some time since we last had you on. You guys have been very busy, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Would you mind taking a moment and just sharing with the audience your origin story? You know, like how were you raised? What kinds of stuff were you into? And what were the key moments that led to your moving in the direction of one day creating your own crowdfunded comic books? Right.
Well, that's kind of a long story, but I'll try to summarize it the best I can. I was actually born in South America, in Colombia, to be more precise. And at the time when I was born, there was a lot of turmoil, politically speaking. There was a civil war really going on, and of course the war between the cartels. And I mean, it was just complete Armageddon, if you could describe it in any way. And so I guess I could say I was fortunate, but it was really not a fortunate situation that my grandfather alone, he was kidnapped like 7 times.
Oh, shit.
Because they kept paying the ransom and they let him go, but then they will go back and kidnap him again because he was a wealthy landowner, and at the time, those were probably the people that were in most danger, right? Is wealthy landowners, and his children. That same thing kept happening to his children, right? Between kidnappings and killings and things like that. And my grandfather actually passed away last year, but from old age.
Oh.
So he went through a lot. He endured a lot, and so my mother was there with him, and it came to a point where she had enough of it, and she sent me away to live with another relative, and she decided to come to America and make a new life and far away from the violence, from the kidnappings, from especially because she had me now. She wanted a better life for me, and she wanted safety for her family, I guess. So she came here first to America, did her paperwork, and eventually I was able to come as well, like 5 or 6 years after that, right? So I was raised by a different relative, and I come here now as a teenager, and eventually became an American by joining the United States Army, and I started really well in high school here, because I did high school here. I wasn't really into comics as much. I wasn't really into things. I was more into sports, and I think it was basically I had a lot of I guess you could say built up anger and things like that, and it really provided me with an outlet, and especially martial arts and boxing, which was really my passion at the time. I can't do it really as much anymore because I'm fat, but back then I was super fit, and I was doing a lot of sports. So I was perfect Army material, and that's what I ended up. That was the route that I ended up taking, and the way I ended up going was joining the military. When I was in the military, and this is really when it started, I had a really bad accident and ended up in a wheelchair. I was in a wheelchair for a good year or so. I was really, I broke a lot of bones, and it took a long time to heal. And so, of course, I couldn't do any physical activity. So what I ended up doing, I remember my friend, I'm not going to name him, but one of my friends from the Army, one of my battle buddies, as we used to call him, brought me The Walking Dead in comic. And I'm not going to say that was the first time I ever read a comic, because I used to write as a little child, but I kind of left that and never did it again. But I kind of rediscovered this passion, this love for storytelling and for comics right there and then. And of course, I was in a wheelchair. I couldn't go anywhere, so I just kept asking my friends to just start bringing me comic books, And so they did. I remember the second one was Marvel Civil War, and they just kept coming. They kept them coming. A bunch of both comics and normal books, and I was devouring these things because I couldn't have electronics in the barracks. And all I could have was books, and they just kept bringing me books. And when they went home, if they would go home, they would send me books from over there. And I just kept reading, and I rediscovered this passion. I said, man, one day I'm going to do my own comic book. But that came to pass, and of course, I left the Army, I left the military, I went back to civilian life and found a job, and that dream kind of just drifted away or was put aside. And I was like, I'll do it one day because I'm really into it now. And I started watching a lot more manga as well. Not watching more anime. I meant to say, I'm sorry. So I basically became a nerd overnight. And I joke about this, but it's true. I was so depressed because of my condition at the time. You go from being this really, it's not to brag, but you go from being this really good athlete to being confined to a wheelchair. You are super depressed. But the comic books really kept me alive, man. I gotta be honest. They saved my life. They kept me going, and just something that I look forward to every day reading, and it would give me a lot of passion, and they would give me a lot of something to live for, if you will. I know it sounds cheesy and extremely like cheesy, but it's the truth. Deep inside, I knew that not only was I alone in the whole barracks, because they kind of sent me away to a place where I wasn't around other people and all this stuff to rehabilitate myself. It was a very weird situation, I'll tell you that. One time they forgot to feed me, I'll tell you that, for like a week. And so like I tell you, the comics were just my not only my only companion, but the only thing I got to do in the whole day.
Dang.
So then one day I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do my own comic book, and I started kind of looking into it. How do I get this done? How can this actually become a reality? So I contacted this professional artist, because I am not an artist. I cannot draw for shit. I cannot color. I cannot do any of those things, right? You've seen I do stick figures, and they're still ugly. So, but I'm a writer, and I think I'm a pretty decent writer. So I was like, you know what? I need to find a good artist. And I contacted this professional artist, and he told me, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm booked for the rest of the year, and my commissions are really expensive, because I did some work for Marvel. I did some work for DC, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I can give you this website to where you can find up and coming artists, or artists who are just getting started, getting their foot in the door, and they might have better prices. And I said, like, okay, I'll go for it. And at the time, I was writing a story called Cosmo Monkey, about a Soviet monkey that, I know there's no monkeys in Russia, but like a part of the Soviet Union program, the space program, right? They send this monkey into space, and in space he goes into some aliens intercept the spacecraft. And they run some experiments on him and send him back to Earth. And now the monkey's like sentient and hyper intelligent and all these things. It's kind of like a animal superhero type of deal. And I really wanted to get that published. So what I ended up doing was I started contacting artists. The first one I hired was really, the work was really not up to par with what I wanted. It was really bad. So I kind of gave up after that. I paid the artist because, she took she took the trouble and the time to actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't really happy with the results, and I was like, you know what, I don't know, I don't think this is actually feasible. But then one night, I remember, because at the time I was coaching the Arizona Olympic team for boxing. I was coaching them.
Ooh, wow.
So we were on a trip to New Mexico. And at the hotel one night, I just I woke up in the middle of the night there at the hotel where we were at this competition. And I remember just checking my phone, and I see this manga artist, right, who has this really great portfolio. And at the time, I don't really look at the name or anything. And I say, this might be the perfect style for, this is exactly what I'm looking for. We'll come to find that artist was actually Carla.
Mm-hmm.
And we set up a meeting and all that. And, we met, we chatted, we did FaceTime. And eventually she came here to meet me in person. I went over there as well. And we ended up marrying each other, And,
you were in the States?
Yeah, I was in the States. She was not. She was not at the time. But she came to visit the States first.
Oh, wow.
Then I went over there as well. And then we started a relationship, and then we married after.
Oh, all right.
And so what ended up happening is, we got married and all that. So we didn't really care much for comics anymore, I guess. We didn't even finish that project. But it came a time where we kind of had a little bit of free time in our hands. I was working online, and it was pretty good. And I was making pretty good money for where we were living. And so we had a little bit of extra time. And so we decided, hey, why don't we just try this? Why don't we try this crowdfunding thing? Especially Indiegogo was the one that was, catching our eye the most. So we we decided to go with, well, I had a bunch of stories written, but I felt like the Grim Reaper, which is the first one we did.
Yep.
I felt like it would be something that would do well with crowdfunding, right? Because it was a pretty solid story. And so we decided to crowdfund that, but we had no idea how to do it or anything. We didn't even really take the time to investigate. Well, I think Carla did, but I was more of a let's just do it kind of person, right?
Okay.
And so what ended up happening is that me and Carla just decided to one day just do it, just go for it, and we launched it without making any kind of networking, any connections, being affiliated with CG at all. We just kind of went ahead and launched it. And I'll never forget that we hit the launch button, and right away one backer comes in. Right, the first backer backs our book for $35. Never forget. So he backs it, and we're like, yeah, this is going to be super easy. You know, we didn't even do a mailing list. Let me put it like that. We were like, this is going to be a walk in the park. I mean, look at that. 1 second after we launch and we get our first backer. Well, that was the first backer for the first month of the of the campaign.
Right. Uh-huh.
We did not get any other backers after him, and so we were kind of scratching our heads, like, how does this thing actually work? You know, how does this thing actually work? We have no idea. We're like, we see these campaigns with these huge numbers. How come we're stuck in with one backer? You know, is this actually something that we could that is doable, or is this fake? And so that's how we met Shay Zombie, right? We made Shay the Red, or whatever name she goes by now, and she was super friendly, she was super sweet, and she told us about this CG thing, right? That she was involved with, and she kind of got us into the groups, and I'm like, this is really cool. And then I remember, I used to watch your boy Zach on YouTube, and who else? Yeah, I think mostly your boy Zach and other people who were mostly Fandom Menace than anything. That kind of touched on CG every once in a while, and so I was kind of familiar with the concept. But and I definitely agree with the principles of treating the customer right. The customer comes first, and
absolutely,
and respecting it, and just doing stories that were kind of apolitical, or at least not trying to inject your own politics and views into the story to be preachy. Which you obviously you can inject politics into comics. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're preaching, instead of trying to teach a moral lesson, I guess. Then of course you're disrespecting your audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're preaching about how awful your audience is.
For sure.
I think that's the main point there. And so I would definitely agree with the principles of it. So I kind of got into it, and I kind of steered clear with the drama, because when I came in there was already drama, and it goes and it comes and goes really in the whole of CG community. But that's the thing, it's a community, so you kind of find all kinds of people in there. And then we started networking. We started going on to YouTube channels and doing this sort of thing, right? Live streams and things. Mm-hmm. And then we started seeing our numbers climb, and then we figured, okay, so this is the formula, right? So this is the way to do it. You got to really put yourself out there on YouTube. And I got to tell you, that was something that at the time I hated. I did not like doing that. I didn't like putting myself out there on camera and all that. Mostly because I don't know. I feel like it's very easy to just make it awkward and or run out of things to say or something. So what ended up happening in the end is that we actually created our own YouTube channel, and it's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. I mean, we kind of had a pretty good growth from it. And well, we launched Grim Reaper 1. Let me put it into perspective. We launched Grim Reaper 1 with no channel. We launched Grim Reaper 2. We already had a YouTube channel, but it was very small, so we launched it at WyzGyz's WyzGyz's live stream. But this last comic that we're working on, which is Witch Hunter, we launched it on our channel, and it was funded on our channel. So that's something that I'm very proud of, because you know what, that tells us that we have that retention and we have that relationship with the audience.
Yeah.
that they would come to our channel and from our channel fund it, and it's crazy because now, whereas we used to be the guys that would be asking people, can we please be in your channel, even feature for 5 minutes, now we have people asking us to come to our channel, and they come and they get backers. That's great. That's fantastic. That's what we wanted. And of course we want to help people out as well, the newcomers or people who are not so newcomers, who want to launch a campaign, who want to be, who want eyes on their campaign, to get eyes on them. And we are not only, we're not only creators, but we're also backers too. We back many projects as well. So we definitely like to support the community and move forward. I know that there's tons of drama always going on because, you have different personalities, and that's just bound to happen no matter what in any community. But the indie community in itself, the indie community, whether it is with comics, fandom menace, whatever, it's something really unique, and it's a threat to mainstream entertainment. I think they know it because their numbers dwindle, and at least our numbers grow, and there's no other way to do it than respecting the customer and doing things with real love and passion, because that's the other thing. You look at mainstream comics, and a lot of those people, just especially writers, and I think artists too, especially writers, they use it as a catapult, as a platform, or a trampoline, I like to say, so that they can move forward onto TV, Netflix, and things like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So they're really using comics as a way to get the name, so that they can get out of comics. You can't get into comics to get out of comics, I think.
It's like an IP farm.
Right.
Just trying to come up with ideas for characters and stories that will easily translate into movie and TV.
Yes, that's true. But at the same time, they want to be cool with the with the SJW crowd, I think, mostly. And we were actually talking to Carla the other day because we were watching the WandaVision show, which, by the way, I thought it was pretty good. And she and I don't know, maybe I'm too optimistic, maybe I'm foolish and naive, but I'm kind of see, because there's just so much money they can lose before they realize that they need to take a different course of action. You know what I mean? There's only so much money, and I think Marvel hasn't afforded to lose money yet, even though Captain Marvel was really shitty. but then you have Endgame. They have a brand, they have a name that means something. And I don't think they can afford going the Star Wars route. I don't even see that. Maybe they're going to go on, and this might be overly optimistic on my part, but maybe they'll do some course correction. I think that might happen, and I think that might happen with entertainment as a whole, because you gotta understand that when these movies get produced, they don't happen overnight. The movies that you're watching right now, they really started making them 5 years ago, or maybe even more sometimes. You see how long Wonder Woman was delayed and all that. So when these cultural changes start happening, and I think they will, because you start to see how tired people are of SJW rhetoric. But when these changes start to happen, it takes a little while for movies, especially, to catch up. You know what I mean? Because they already have movies into production. So I think that the reason why we saw really shitty movies in 2018, I think, that were like super SJW, like Charlie's Angels, right? Terminator, and all this stuff. These movies have actually been into production a long time ago, when SJW things were a little bit more hip, and I think that's going to change soon. And so as it changes, I think that you may see that the mainstream, especially with movies, is going to change it soon, because they gotta the directors can be SJWs, the actors even can be SJWs, but at the end of the day, money talks, and the investors, the producers, are going to be like, okay, tell me, what do people really like nowadays? What are the cool kids doing now? And I think that's really where really it comes, where the decisions really come from. And I guess you have seen some of that with some movies like Sonic. You saw how they changed really completely the character design. because they listen to the fans, and of course the SJW media felt like that was super offensive. You gotta listen to the experts according to them all the time, and not the fans. And then you see that with Justice League, how they're allowing the Snyder Cut, and they invested so much money in the Snyder Cut because they're starting to pay attention to what the fans say, and that's really good, and that's something that is very unique to CG. I think that we have always had that. We've always had that direct communication with the customer, and me and Carla try to make ourselves as approachable as we can with answering. I know I'm super bad with this, and if anybody has ever tried to reach me, I try my best, honestly. But Carla's more the social butterfly here. So she will talk to anyone. She would she would always answer to your messages. I tried as much as possible to do the same. But but we've always had the direct contact with the customer. So if anybody ever has a problem with their book, or if anybody ever has any questions or anything, if the book already closed and they still want a copy, people contact us, and we figure things out with them. If people have feedback, I always welcome feedback, because I always want to do better the next time. But I don't mean in money. Of course I do, but I also want to make a better book next time, and so on and so forth. And the only way to do that is for people to not tell me, "Oh, it's awesome, it's wonderful, it's the best book ever," and they never even read it. Instead I want, okay, this book, here's what I like, here's what I don't like, here's what you can do better. And we've gotten that. I have encouraged people to do that. So I was taking notes. Okay, so what did I do wrong the last time, and how can I make this better? And I think that's the idea. I really want growth from this, and eventually put out the best freaking comic book out there.
Absolutely. That's a good thing to strive towards. Welcome, Grown Up Trunks. Hey, what's up? White Cat Comics is on.
Hey.
Hey, babe.
That's Carla. She must be in the room texting.
Hello, wonderful chat. Welcome, Daniel. Good to have you. Hail, everyone. Welcome, Phoenix Animation.
All right.
Hello. Fantastic. Out of curiosity, having come from Colombia, do you still have a lot of family back there?
Yes, my father lives there. My grandparents live there. Mm-hmm.
Do any of them like follow the comic book industry? And are comics like popular? And
they are. I think they are. Not as much as, in terms of Latin America, I think Mexico will probably be the biggest market for comics, without a doubt. Because Mexico has a comic book culture. I think we don't. But what has been happening in the countries that don't have as much of a comic book culture, opposed to Mexico, say, what's been happening is being overtaken by manga, and it's insane. These freaks, man, I'll tell you, the people over there make these conventions, and they have these, and it's freaking fun. I'll tell you, it's super fun. And anime manga is just the biggest thing in Latin America right now. It is the biggest thing in Latin America right now. Believe it or not. And so, some people, like last time I went, it's been crazy because, shit changes so fast, you can't keep up with it. Mm-hmm. Last time I was there, about 2 years ago, and I took my, she's not my niece, she's actually my cousin, but she's much, much younger than I am. I took her with her friends to one of these conventions. I went with Carla too, and we were kind of like the old people, because some of these kids even speak Japanese kind of fluently from just watching these things and reading it,
Oh my gosh.
And they can read the little kanji, whatever oh my God, it's really crazy, it's really crazy.
Wow.
Like the anime and manga culture in Latin America is really strong. It's really strong. It's really big, and it's growing, So right now, at the moment, I will say that more so than comic books, Japanese style manga is the biggest thing in my home country, in the old country. more so than comic books, I would say. Now, my family per se, like I said, the younger generation is big into manga and anime. The older people, of course, they're really not. They don't even know much about it, but they've been supporting me since I found out that I do this, and they've been trying to support in the way I can. But of course, that I understand that $50 here is basically rent over there. You know what I mean?
Oh, right.
So I'm not gonna have them do that, but I was giving free copies or something like that, because I understand that $50 here means a lot more over there, for example, right? And
right.
a lot of times $25 is the cost for shipping, anyways. And like I said, that's too much. So, yeah.
Oh. Phoenix Animation says Puerto Rico and Brazil have had some big conventions pop up in the past few years.
Yeah.
And that's pretty sweet. Of all those genres, I wouldn't have even thought or imagined that manga and anime would take off really well over there.
Right. I think so. I don't know when this exactly happened, but in my time, I remember Dragon Ball being really big, and so was Pokemon. It really took off. It was like really popular, and it was like the most popular thing over there. Those might have been the precursors, I guess you could say, from what was about to happen. But anime has diversified so much, and I think it's always been very diverse in the storytelling and all that. But now you have stories, all kinds of stories, all kinds of books, all kinds of media, all kinds of movies and games, for all the taste, and I'm not saying that comic books are confined to the superhero genre. Obviously, there is much broader. But I feel like superheroes still take the biggest part of comic books, whereas in manga and anime, I think it's, I don't know, you have anywhere from slice of life and time traveling robots, I don't know, aliens, whatever. You have all kinds of things, and people like that. People that like that a lot. And then, fun fact, in Latin America, when I was at least growing up, the Catholic influence is just so strong in these cultures, right? They kind of still have a saying politically, not officially at least, but people definitely listen to the clergy. At least back in when I was growing up, I don't know if that's the case anymore. But back when I was growing up, the church meant something. So when these animes were coming out, Pokemon particularly, these nuns and priests, they took it apart, man, saying that it came from the devil, that if you watched it, you were doomed to go to hell, that it was satanic, that they were putting subliminal messages in the episodes of these things, and that you were gonna have epilepsy attacks and all the jazz, right? So naturally, what that created was, it always has this completely backwards effect, right? Is the whole Catholic schoolgirl dilemma, right? That you have a Catholic schoolgirl, and you make her be, you hammer in her that she needs to be very, very decent and prudent, and as soon as they go out, they become these freaks, right? so that's kind of the effect. That's why I believe that SJW dogma will go away, because what they're really creating is a generation of kids that are going to be like, fuck you, mom, I'm not gonna raise my fist and say Black Lives Matter. That's, I think, what was going to happen eventually with SJW dogma. But what ended up happening with this whole anime thing in my country particularly was that kids were like, well, you know what? I don't care. I'll watch it anyways, because that's what kids do. They rebel against their parents, they rebel against authority, and they do the opposite. So maybe that had something to do. Maybe we have the Catholics to thank for how popular anime has become in Latin America. I don't know. That's just my theory.
So Witch Hunter, this is your third project?
Yes, sir.
So the first one was Grim Reaper 1. The second one was Grim Reaper 2. and you're on Witch Hunter now.
Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you're progressively getting higher and higher in terms of funding
Yeah, well,
from one campaign to the next.
Yeah, well, Grim Reaper 2 closed with higher numbers, but at this stage, at this point in time, I think we have more money than we did with Grim Reaper 2. So yes, we're growing. We're growing, yes, sir.
Absolutely, that's cool. Excuse me. And you and your wife Carla are the team who composes White Cat Comics.
Yes.
And you're the author storyteller, basically.
Yes. But not exclusively though. There were more people involved this time than last time around, because last time it was just me and Carla. But this time we hired the help of Javi Gutierrez. He's from Mexico. He is from maybe you're familiar with him, the 656 Comics.
Oh, right.
They brought you Undead Border Escape or Die. And I think they're doing a cryptids book now. I honestly, it's so bad because I have not been keeping up with anything. I haven't had the time. But I think that was going to be their next project. I could be wrong. But so this guy is extremely talented. He has that specific look and aesthetics that we were looking for. So he's doing the inks, and he did character design inks. The interior art, all that was him. Carla colored all of the interior art. She also made one of the covers, and the lettering, right? Then we have Vinny Tartamella. He did an extra cover for us, and that was very special because we have two covers for the book, and each cover has a different ending for the story, right? so Vinny's cover was very, very essential to this. Then it's myself, who I have written the story and created the story, and then we're going to have another person join the team, because this might be something that people don't know, but the PDF, no, not the PDF version. I guess I shouldn't call it that. The electronic version. What is the proper name for this? Not the physical version, but let's call it the electronic version. The words digital version, exactly. It's going to have a little bit of flair to it. How much flair depends on the funding. But we want to do something cool with it, and it's not unheard of. Rob Muerto did it with his book, to where it was something really cool that really stuck with me. That was that you clicked on the characters and then the speech bubble pops up. Now that sounds like a simple concept, but I know we can go beyond with music in the background, with maybe even voiceovers. I don't know if with this project, but maybe with future projects. But we can do stuff with the PDFs, make him really interactive, especially I think since this book is going to have two different endings. That's going to be the perfect opportunity to do something like that, to kind of like make your own story type of thing, immersive storytelling, if you will. So we're going to bring another person to the team as well that will be announced soon. Like I said, how much flair the book will have depends on the funding, but I would definitely want to do something cool with digital versions.
Nice. Aria can confirm his Mexican father definitely gave him a hard time over some of the things he was watching as a kid.
Right. Yeah. I didn't have the same experience. I gotta be honest with you. My mom she honestly, she would sit down and watch it with me. But I did go to a Catholic school in elementary or so, and my God, these people were crazy about it. They hated everything anime because they thought that it was satanic, and really I think what it comes down to is and I understand this now better, that when you grow older you kind of have a hard time understanding what's going on now. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm ancient, but I kind of feel like it because these kids, these younger kids, they do these things, and I honestly can't keep up with any of it. Between the memes and the slang and the TikToks, I guess I can't keep up with it. And I don't try to, but I'm not going to demonize it either. It's
right.
It's just a culture I'm not a part of, and simple as that. Same thing with music. I really don't know what the hell is playing or what who the newest artist, singer, band, whatever it is. I don't care because
Yeah.
I'm stuck in the '90s and that's where I'm gonna stay. You know what I mean? Musically, at least.
Um,
But but I think it comes from that first and foremost. All people don't really, and all I mean, anybody past the age of 20, in that it's not in their 20s anymore. So not really old people, but
do
people
they?
who are a part of a different generation, you know. And another part, I think, especially like I insist upon this, is that the church was really big on the whole crackdown on anime for some reason. It's just distracting for the kids, and it takes them away from their indoctrination, and they think that the anime is indoctrinating them, and so it becomes really a competition for attention, I think, in my opinion.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like there's some anime and manga that kind of explores the demons and
Yeah.
evil and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, I was wondering if it freaks them out because the characters have huge eyes.
Right. And huge tits, so that would definitely freak them out.
Yeah. When you were in the army and you were recovering and stuff, and you were talking about being in a wheelchair and stuff,
Yep.
Did you feel when you were using when you had comics as your escape, did you feel it would have been better or worse, or would you be indifferent if you saw more superheroes that were, say, like in wheelchairs and
Yeah. No, man, I gotta be honest with you. I never really got the whole identity politics thing. Because look, I'm Colombian. I've never seen a damn Colombian be a superhero. And you know what? I don't care for it because that's not the point of it. I think the point of it is to just, learn about these really great stories that can happen to anyone, and I think that's the point. I didn't need a wheelchair character. I didn't need a disabled character or whatever. And it's cool if they make a good story, if they make the character justice and it's interesting. But I think that's the main thing. The character needs to be interesting before anything else, before checking any boxes or of oppression, I guess, or of misadvantage or disadvantage or whatever. Before anything, the character needs to be interesting. It needs to be a well thought out character, because what ends up happening is these people, and by these people I mean, of course, SJWs, are so fixated on representation, right? That's the main thing, representation, that they omit the main thing, that they need to make likable, relatable characters. That they need to make characters that actually you come to care for. And what they end up creating is a caricature and a character that it's just there because it's a quota, because he or she meets a quota that they have. It's insulting, really, if you think about it. I mean, if I was the quote unquote minority or group of people being represented that way, I wouldn't want that. Instead, I would want a good character, regardless of whether or not he or she looks like me or goes through the same struggles as me, who I can actually like and follow and I come to care for. I think that is what's missing, not really registering with these people that, even though Luke Skywalker is a blonde kid with green eyes, I can still relate to him in many ways, because I get the concept of heroics and walking a different path and going on an adventure and all these things, and all of these other things become completely not relevant anymore. But I get it, though. I get it. I guess if I seen a character in a wheelchair that was well thought out at the time, I would be like, oh, that's cool, But it wasn't something that I particularly need. I mean, if anything, I wanted to get up and stop using it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Welcome, Balzette. Good to have you. Hello. Matt Newey says, because these people don't know how to relate to basically anyone.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to representation, I mean, there have been countless women who are into Star Wars who
Right.
looked up to Luke Skywalker.
Right.
And, you know, Luke's not a woman. So
Right.
you don't have to have someone who looks like you or is exactly like you to feel like you're a part of the story in a sense. And that's part of what imagination is good for.
Yeah.
The, you know, when everything, like kids these days, they grow up in technology.
Yeah.
So that's like all they know. They don't, they're not used to, you know, going and bike riding late at night till the wee hours until it gets dark.
Yeah.
And then whipping out flashlights and still, you know, playing on your bicycle or doing, you know, cops and robbers and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that in a way, their imagination can become stunted.
Yeah.
I think. So yeah.
Oh yeah, pretend play is very important for children development. I would say it's probably one of my fondest memories was, you know, just playing, I don't know, hide and go seek, or like you said, you know, cops and robbers or whatever. You know, it was really a big part of us learning to work together with other people, communicate effectively, be in control of our emotions. And you see that it's missing a lot in society today. You know, you see that all this outburst of rage, and destruction that is caused last year is from people who don't know how to put their emotions in check, you know. And
Right.
that's one of the things that you learn with working with others, because that's the thing, people are always going to be different than you, and they're going to have their own opinions and their own interests and their own things. And it's not that you have to put their interest and likes and wants and everything above yours. Is that you kind of have to find a playing field to where, you know, both of you guys are, you know, are having a good time.
Oh yeah.
And so I feel like that's missing today, and it's this narcissistic. It's just me. I am the only one that matters, and
Right.
that can be, you know, when you're a kid, it can be learned through playing with your peers, you know, because then you understand the dynamics and you understand, okay, well, I have to take into account other people's you know, feelings and things and so on and so forth. And it's not all about me. The universe doesn't revolve around me. You know, but now imagine that these kids are lonely, always playing video games, always in their computers, always in their phones. That's the only way they interact with their friends. And on top of that, they've been on lockdown for a whole year. They haven't really seen, you know, their friends and have gotten to. I mean, I don't know. I think we screwed these kids out forever. That's my opinion. You know, I think that just locking them up for 1 year enough is going to have some really bad well, the word escapes me, but it's going to have some pretty bad consequences in the years to come, you know.
Yeah. What was it? The reports were saying that since the lockdowns, children have been experiencing far more anxiety and stress
Right.
Beyond what they experience at school these days.
Right.
You know, I hear about what's going on in schools from, you know, my stepkids, and it's almost unfathomable how much stressful it is to them than what I remember of high school.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I was oblivious and just kind of got by and stayed to myself mostly. But you know, being a nerd and stuff, it's like,
yeah, but I remember having outlets, and that was the main thing. And being in sports more than anything, I remember it taught me this camaraderie with my teammates. You know, now because I didn't practice sports that revolve. I mean, I did soccer for a little bit, but I wasn't really that good. I was okay, but even though my sport was individual sport, right, martial arts and boxing, I still had a team. I still travel around with them, you know. We still looked after each other, and that's something that you need I think that's something that humans need, that
Yeah.
connection with other people. And
Mhm.
that's how you grow. That's how you grow. That's how you mature as well. So you're going to have people who are going to be very immature, very, infantile. They're going to be very emotionally immature, I think, and emotionally unprepared for the hardships of life, because we really have deprived them of the learning tools to face these things, and that comes in the way of because that's the thing, that's the old question: what do you need school for if you're always learning the same damn things? Well, that's true. You really, and you're not gonna use most of it anyways in real practical life.
Mhm.
But the real point of school is socialization.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't need to happen at a school, by the way. You can homeschool and still be part of a sports team and still have that,
Right.
or have a large family and lots of brothers and sisters and still have that, or be part of some kind of community, church or whatever, and still have that. But you need that, and that's my point. You need that socialization. You need
Oh,
you
yeah.
need to be around other people your age and just learn about the world. And
Yeah.
that's it. And now we are creating a generation of very lonely people, and I don't know how this is going to go well in any way. I don't see it.
I don't think it will go well, and the longer they extend it, the worse it gets, because
Yeah.
there's an increase in not only anxiety and stress in children, but also uh, people of all ages, an increase in the suicide rate. And I think honestly that statistic it exceeds or outpaces the number of deaths from COVID.
Absolutely.
Legit.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. And you know who else is with me on that? And this might surprise you. My own grandfather told me one time, not too long ago, because we were having this debate. He's like, why do kids need to sacrifice their life and time? Because time is life, right? At the end of the day, for older people, because that's really what it comes down to. It's this selfish notion that you're going to kill grandma unless you stay indoors and cover your face, right?
Right.
And my grandpa told me these very wise words. He said, regardless whether or not COVID is as bad as they make it out to be, all people have already lived their lives. You know what I mean? If we gotta go, we gotta go.
Right.
But this younger generation, they're the ones that are being deprived of living their lives to save grandma who may have just a few years left. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
if it's an old person telling you that, you kind of get it, right? You kind of get it.
Sure.
And it's like, yeah, as bad as that sounds, it is kind of true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is kind of true. And it's a tragedy, because these kids are going to be, I think the damage of this is going to linger for a long time.
Mhm.
And I don't know really how many lives were actually saved from doing any of this, if at all.
Right. Exactly.
We
Yeah.
have never shut down the whole planet in the history of humanity. It's never happened.
Yeah.
And when there have been quarantines, and there have been quarantines throughout history, they haven't lasted a fucking year. It's just
Yeah.
not normal. You know what I mean?
Oh
It's
yeah.
not normal.
It's a play for control and power
Yeah.
and money. Yeah. Yeah. Because these people don't know how to relate to basically anyone. Oh yeah. Speaking of being able to connect or feel like you're represented, it's like, do I really want to read a comic about an overweight Asian stereotypical male who is into martial arts and computers and is good at math? Yeah, right. No control and no sense of history. Yeah, and that was the whole point for the rioters to take down monuments, because they want people to forget their history.
Right.
That's their plan, to break and brainwash kids. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome Oliver from 656 Comics.
Oh, there he is.
The weird thing is, when they do seem to relate to a character, it's always a bad guy and not even the sympathetic ones.
Yeah. Yeah. There's been a theme recently that the villain needs to be this really complex character that. And I get it. I get it. You know, I seen that. You know, in the 80s, mostly in entertainment around that time period, the villains were very. They were a caricature, right? They were just going to destroy the world or take over it, right? And they were
Right.
just this.
Yeah.
And it comes to mind the bad guy from Austin Powers. Always escapes my name. What's his name? Doctor Evil, right? And that was kind of like the representation of villains at the time, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of was like, if you look at the James Bond's villains, they were like that.
Yep.
In a way, not very complex people, but they have tried to, they've tried to make these characters somewhat relatable to where the lines are blurred, and you keep hearing it, oh, Thanos was right, or things like that,
Yeah.
and it kind of shows where our culture is, no? I think, but at the same time, I get it. Life is complex, No bad guy wakes up one day and says, you know what, I'm going to be a bad guy today. It happens over time, and sometimes what is bad for some is good for others, and other times as well, bad people can do nice things, But that's not the point of it. The point of it is not to create this confusion as to who's good and who's bad, or what is good and what is bad. And I think that's key right there. Is that I don't care if Hitler was good with puppies, which he was, by the way. He was still Hitler. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't care if Pablo Escobar was a good father, which he was. He was still a narco-terrorist. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So regardless of whether or not these characters, these people, both in history and in entertainment, have good qualities to them, they're still bad. You know what I mean? And
Right.
they should be dealt with. And that's I think the point.
Absolutely. So Witch Hunter is out. Now, didn't you have your Space Monkey book that you were originally planning coming after Grim Reaper 2?
Well, we don't have it. We don't have it finished. It's not drawn. And in fact, I think we're going to redo it from scratch because both me and Carla have improved, let's say. And right. It would feel weird to put out something like that all these years after, when we can do so much better. You know what I mean?
Okay, all right.
And it's not that I'm not enamored with the story anymore. That story is very special and very close to my heart because that's how I met my wife.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that I am not going to do that story. It's just that we're aiming for the right time to do it, and we're going to do it over. And because it is a special story to us, mm-hmm. we're gonna put a lot of time and effort into it. And it's not just gonna be something that we grabbed the old files that we have saved up from it, and we try to launch a campaign with that because it's just not good enough. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If it's worse than Grim Reaper 1, then it's not good. So we're gonna do it over, and we're gonna do it right. And we're gonna do the best we can now, right? So that's coming. That's coming for sure.
Cool.
But we're working on it. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Let's check out this trailer here.
Sure.
Renowned witch hunter Alden is faced with the most dangerous quest of his life when a powerful witch emerges to threaten Grimsby. With the fate of his people hanging in the balance, Alden must unite with an unlikely ally to free Grimsby from the claws of evil. Don't miss this masterful tale from White Cat Comics. Witch Hunter.
That part at the end where you have Witch Cat Comics across the front and then the moon, right. Is that part of the Witch Cat? White Cat Comics logo, or is that like themed to match?
That's themed to match the book, and it was done masterfully by WyzGyz.
I was gonna say,
Himself. I mean, he has quite the talent for trailers. I'll tell you that he has a really good. He has that skill, and I don't know how many people in ComicsGate can say that, but he definitely has that. And if anybody's thinking of launching a campaign and you want to do a trailer, I definitely suggest hitting him up because he knows how to do this thing really good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was gonna say it looked like a WyzGyz production.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then I'm used to with the White Cat Comics trailers that it includes things like sound effects and like
right
touches to the special effects like the magic.
Right.
So it really matches, the White Cat Comics theme.
Absolutely.
Daniel says, power level increasing. Very nice. And I mean, he's getting better and better. And I especially love that one transition effect where it looks like a
bunch of hands.
Well, it looks like a grate, and then it looks like glossy liquid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dripping through the holes in the grate.
Oh yeah.
And then it brings into it brings a picture more into focus.
Right.
Yeah, that's really trippy. So we got the short summary, and
right. And I should actually give credit to someone else who participated on this project, and I always forget. Katie, she goes by Miriam. She's the author of Bonds. She designed this campaign page. So thank you, Katie.
Nice.
Yeah.
So all right, let's see here. I wanted to ask real quick regarding your logo.
Yes.
Is the cat facing us?
That's the idea, man. The idea is to confuse you.
Oh, okay. So that's intentional.
Yeah. It's an intentional little thing. What you call those paintings where I forgot the author's name, the painter's name, where it looks like they're going down the stairs and in reality they're going up, and it's like that's kind of one of those techniques. I don't know.
Yeah, MC Escher.
Carlos a genius. What can I say?
Yeah, I think you're referring to MC Escher.
There you go, that guy.
White Cat Comics, best comics, right? Meow. Cute tagline.
Oh yeah.
This time bringing another epic story that you're sure to rock our world. Witch Hunter. Out of curiosity, on the trailer, is that WyzGyz's voice who does the voiceover?
Yes.
All right. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but anime and manga is like Carla's, what art style she was into and raised on, right?
Right. Yeah. And this cover is manga style, but she did an interior side story within the book.
Sweet.
Like an after credit scene, if you will. And it's drawn not on manga style, but actually anime style. Now, what's the difference? You may be wondering. There is a difference. One for one is colored, but also it's colored in a way that it looks like you're watching a movie stills. Like movie screenshots as opposed to reading anime pages. It's actually quite interesting style, and you'll find some of it at the bottom of it, at the bottom of the page. Whenever we get to it, you will see what that style, and you will see. Okay, this is not quite. It's like manga, but it's not quite that. It's something else. So,
gotcha. Yeah, I mean, she must have been pretty excited to kind of get back to her roots.
Oh, of course, and she wants to actually go more into it. Moving forward with whatever we do, she wants to be in completely manga or anime style, something like that.
Oh, is that right? Okay, because I know with Grim Reaper 1 and 2, you guys went more of like what we might call a traditional Western style of art.
There was a blend. There was a blend. I think some of the faces look kind of manga-ish, but for the most part, yes. For the most part, it was Western. Yeah.
46 pages, perfect bound and glossy finish. Ooh.
I should interject there. That should be updated. It's actually 50 now because we crossed the first what do we call it? Stretch goal. So it's gonna be 50 pages. Mm-hmm.
Yay! 2 covers and 2 endings.
Right.
That's pretty cool. There isn't a whole lot of other projects out there like that.
Right.
The only other one really that I can think of is Skits, the comic.
They did something very similar. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we did it after them, so. But yeah, I believe that I can't really remember because we had him on a live stream one time. I think they have different covers with different points of view of the same story, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. If I am, please forgive me that I'm butchering the idea, but I think that is what their main idea was. Mm-hmm.
I think that's the idea too.
Yeah.
And forgive me if I screwed up myself.
Right. Yeah. But so this is a little bit different in the sense that each cover has a different ending for the same story. So like the story is gonna be the same up to a certain point.
Okay.
And this is key because so Alden, the main character, the witch hunter, comes to a point where he has to make a decision, right? So what happens is he teams up with this witch called Riva. Now Alden is a hardcore. He's an absolutist, right? He believes he was raised by the clergy, right? And his mother was actually a witch. So his mother was hung. She was killed in the main plaza with all the townsfolk and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Watching her. So she was put to death by the clergy back when witch hunting was a thing, back when during the Inquisition, I guess you'll say. And Alden was born right there and then. So the bishop takes him in and he basically raises this man to become a holy warrior, right? To become a servant of the church, to become a hunter of creatures of the night, if you will. So he hunts witches, but apart from witches, he kills monsters, right? He's a monster hunter. He goes on the hunt against werewolves and monsters and vampires and witches and all these things, right? And you get to see all that in the book, how he hunts other monsters as well. There's going to be werewolves and all kinds of epic battles with creatures and things. Now, so he hates witches because he's been taught all his life that witches are bad, and they feed him this lie that his mother was actually killed by a witch as opposed to how she actually died. So he grows up absolutely hating witches. So the first interaction between him and Riva at first are super hilarious because he hates her because she's a witch. But at the same time, she's so sweet and so nice to him that he can't help but kind of rethink his strategy there, right? He kind of starts falling in love with her in a way. Because he realizes, well, maybe not all the witches are bad. Maybe some witches can be good, and this one can be one of the good ones. And in fact, she pledges to help him in the quest to hunt this last witch, right? This really evil witch who's proven to be like the worst and hardest to catch for him, right? Because she's very powerful, because she's very elusive, because she's just very tricky and very smart. And Riva happens to be the sister of this evil witch, right? And is the most evil of all witches. So she says that in order to end, she convinces, because they have like this little community of witches who are hiding from the church, who are hiding from society in the forest. She convinces the other witches that they can only come back out and live normal lives and not be persecuted by the church if they help bring this bad witch to justice and prove to the world that they're not all bad and that they're willing to turn in the bad apples, right? Mm-hmm. So she joins him on this quest to go find this evil witch who's actually her sister. But at some point in the story, Riva gets captured with the evil witch, right? So what ends up happening is Alden has to decide, because something crazy happens, whose life to save, right? And depending on whose life he chooses to save when they're about to burn Riva at the stake, the story will take one turn or the other, right? The story will split into two. And that's why grabbing both of the covers is really cool, because you get to see how the story plays out in both ways. Or whichever cover you decide to go with, you will get one version of the story, basically, right? So that's my daughter, by the way. She woke up and started crying. So that's kind of how that's kind of how it's going to work, right? So we'll see how people like that. I definitely, you know, I'm kind of excited to see. Well, I know that I'm spoiling a little bit, but in reality, there is so much more to this story. You're really gonna have to read it to find out a lot more. So I'm controlling myself right now into how much I can tell you. But yeah, that's a little bit of it's kind of like a rundown of how the story is going to go.
Was eating downstairs, listening on Bluetooth headphones, and the spoilers. See no evil.
There's more to it. There's more to it. It's still worth backing up.
Welcome, Soul Ion. Hey guys, I'm on with Chris and Mark from Grave Robbers right now, but wanted to quickly jump in to shout support for my guys, John and WyzGyz. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Grave Robbers is a good looking book too.
Oh yeah.
So many character detail spoils.
Believe me, Daniel, there's more to it. There's way more to it, and there are many characters I haven't even discussed yet that are going to be in the story as well.
What about says keep spoiling, Matt John? Hail. Oliver's all, geez, spoilers.
All right, guys. All right, I get the point. All right, I get it.
You're gonna get real. You're gonna get real today.
All right.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. And so, like, if you get one book, then you'll have one interpretation as to how the story goes. But then if you get the other, you'll have a different perspective.
Right. Well, if you get the other cover, you'll get a different ending, right? So, like I said, the story plays out the same up to a certain point.
Yeah.
And Javier did something really cool that I kind of wanted to let him freestyle and see what he could come up with, right? But I gave him directions as to what I wanted to see on the page, and he definitely went above and beyond what I thought he would. So have you ever played one of these games, the Telltale games, right? Whether it's The Walking Dead, the Batman, they have all these games where you make a decision, you make a choice, and based on that choice, the story takes you somewhere, right? And a lot of times you come to this point of making a decision to where the screen kind of splits, right? It happened with like the Amazing Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Amazing Spider-Man. When the Green Goblin is holding Mary Jane hostage and the kids on the little cable car on the bridge, right? And he tells Spidey that he has to choose one or the other to save. Now, of course, this being a movie made by Hollywood, they went the safe route and Spider-Man saves both, right?
Yeah.
But in Witch Hunter, something very similar is going to happen. Especially, I like that shot so much in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. Spider-Man's looking at the screen, and you could see Mary Jane falling on one of the eyes.
Oh,
and the kid screaming and falling on the other eye. That's kind of what I wanted to go for. At that very scene, in that very moment when Alden, the Witch Hunter, has to choose who to save, right? I kind of explained to Javier, give me something like that. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Give me something like that people can understand that this is a key moment in the story, and the story will change after regardless what he chooses. Mm-hmm. But I'm not, of course, I'm not. I'm an indie creator. I don't have to go by, Sony's rules, so I can go my own rules. So Alden, if he saves one, the other person dies. Period. And so that's how the story is going to split into, I guess you can say, two parallel universes or whatever.
Right.
So yeah.
That was a cool scene for sure.
Oh yeah.
Hey, welcome, Michael. Yeah, WyzGyz, did you get any sleep? I haven't yet, but the computer's done. Oh, sweet. I think I had maybe 3.5 hours of sleep. Let's see. Law. Tell us what happens next, John.
Well, to find out what happens next, you gotta have to get the book, man. You're gonna have to get
There
the
you go. That's what we're talking about.
book. See, that's how you do it. You guys call it spoilers, but I call it hooking people in. You know, and once you've given them enough, I'm sorry, not giving them. You know, once you've given him a good amount, but not enough, you can stop. You know.
Are you sure this is not the audiobook version of the the entire story?
No, I am. Yeah, I'm sure.
Hail Bell, is that? What are you doing at lol? No clue. Show that page. I mean, you already spoiled the story.
You know, that funny story here is that because my wife Carla knows how much of a spoilery person I am, she kind of hides those files from me. You know, I don't know where even to look here. So I don't know, because she's coloring them. I don't know where they are. She probably has them in a hidden carpet on their passcode or whatever. So I can't actually show it.
You're like the Tom Holland of the MCU.
No, that's Mark Ruffalo. That's Mark Ruffalo.
He's worse than Tom Holland.
Yeah.
I love this part. Written by the unpredictable mind of John Gallagher.
Right. Yeah, that was all Katie. I don't know. Give her props for that. She gave us all a little title. That was pretty cool.
Interior art by the incredibly talented Xavier Gutierrez.
Right. Yeah, it's Javier in
Javier.
Spanish,
All right. I keep wanting to say Xavier with an X and
right.
Javier with a J.
I think he goes by both. I don't think I think he doesn't mind, but you know, it's Javier.
Javier. Excuse me. Some interior inks. Colors, letters, and edits by the color mastermind, Carla Tonielli.
Right.
Of Grim Reapers 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think they complemented each other very well with both art and color. I think it's a very, very unique thing here that happened. Not very often you have two good artists that come together and do something, right?
Sure, yeah. When two creatives meld so nicely, it's a thing to behold.
Oh, yeah.
Variant cover by the master artist, Vinny Tardamella.
Right. Yeah, this is the cover by Vinny. Man, you could tell he has Vinny art written all over it. And he has his pirate book out, by the way, Shadow of the Kraken. Check it out, guys. It's pretty cool book as well. So you have some of interior art right there. You know what to see, what to expect. You know, like I said, this book is gonna be filled with action, and I think Javier is very dynamic artist. You know, you could definitely see, you know, all the fighting and the stuff he does that very well.
Good looking stuff.
For sure.
More interiors. Back it on Indiegogo only.
Funny story. So when we first hired Javier, he was, you know, he was very reluctant to like make the characters too sexy, you know.
All right.
He wanted to keep it professional. By the way, he's a very professional guy. And we told him, like, hey, you know, don't be afraid. Just give her big boobs and a big butt, you know. It's not a big deal. And he did that, and so you will see how the story kind of gets progressively sexier towards the end.
Huh.
Yeah. And then this is the extra short story. Now, the funny thing about this short story is this. I was at work and my wife calls me and she's like, you need to write something really quick. but like really quick. But she's like, you need to do it now. And I'm like, okay, what is it? She's like, when I was in a live stream, all the people in the live stream just started giving me these ideas as to what to include in the story. And so we decided to do a story about a dragon that was fat and I don't know what. And I'm like, what? Okay. and she was like, yeah. And I did a poll asking for a fat name, and everybody said Stan the dragon. So you need to make a story about Stan the dragon. I'm like, okay, I don't even know what the hell's going on, but whatever. So I went ahead and wrote a story about Stan the dragon, and somehow fitted it in the Witch Hunter universe, right? Where there's this little dragon and stuff, and what happens to it. And so and Carla was super excited to draw that. And then she went ahead and did it with her own unique manga anime style, if you will. Very unique style she did it with. So it's going to be a very, very big contrast between that part of the interior art and the rest. So yeah, hopefully people like it. And it was very funny. And it's a very, very cool thing, because if you think about it, the people created this story. You know what I mean? Like the audience created this story, and we included it in it. I mean, we always include fan arts and things like that in the book, but this is like the ultimate fan art, because it's actually a little story, you know, created, born in a live stream.
Mm-hmm. Madanui says, this guy's going to be the equivalent of the trailers that give away the whole movie, isn't he?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
His other nickname is Unpronounceable, lol. Oh, you're referring to Javier?
Yeah.
Extra short story. Not just short, but extra short.
Right, I guess that was worded. So it's an extra story that is short.
Okay, all right. Oh, yeah. All right, I got it now. Stan the Dragon. This complimentary short story brings you a completely unique anime-like experience with your favorite witch hunter characters, Riva and Alden, and Stan the Dragon. Written by John Gallagher. Art and colors by Carla Tornielli. Yeah, that's anime.
Now that is real spoilers right there, and that's Katie. That's all Katie fault.
What? He almost made it. Ah, rest in peace, Stan. Oh.
But more happens after that, though. So you know you gotta read it.
He's gonna come back to life, I tell you.
I never know.
He's coming back to life. You can't put down Stan. Special bonus: unique trading card made by Carla Tornielli.
Right. This is everybody who backed the first day or who was in the mailing list.
Nice.
Gets this one for free.
Ooh, this is a good one. It reminds me of, like playing cards.
Right.
One character right side up and the other upside down, but opposite, basically mirrored.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. This trading card is free, and like you said, for all backers who subscribe to the mailing list, and also for day one backers.
Right. All right, so here we have the list of stretch goals that we're going. So the first one was to extend to 50 pages. Like I said, we got there. And there's going to be another one dropping pretty soon as well. Well, I don't know. I can't spoil things, man. I'm sorry. Don't ask me any more questions. Now, at the bottom of the campaign, if you guys do decide to check it out, first of all, thank you. And second of all, you can reach us by email, on Twitter, our YouTube channel, social media's there. So, yeah, if you want to reach us, ask us questions or tell us comments, insult us, whatever, it's all there. So,
let's check out these cool perks.
Right.
And as I always tell people, I love when creators offer a featured tier, because it's like, in a sense, it's like best bang for your buck.
Yes.
And it usually means you'll be getting something extra beyond just the book itself,
Right.
whether it be a variant cover, maybe a sticker, maybe a print.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be the cheapest tier necessarily, and it's not necessarily going to be the most expensive tier. Somewhere in between, generally.
Of course.
So this feature tier is a double deal.
Yes. And this is the best one for your buck, of course, because you save money on shipping. But it's great because you get both of the stories, you know. So Vinny Tartamelo's cover, Carla's cover, each one of them has a different ending. Cool deal. Back that one if you can. I couldn't recommend it more.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I would definitely go for the double,
Right.
both books, because I mean,
Absolutely.
you got to look at how it ends in both cases.
Oh yeah. Then you have the $10 digital one. Now this one is with Carla's cover only. This one, like I said, has some flair to it. So I also recommend digitals because these digitals are not just your average PDF. You know, they come with good stuff. So
Nice,
good little animation stuff type of style thing. So
cool.
and then we have the same thing but with both endings.
Oh, right, yeah.
And of course, you pay no shipping with that. So if you're an international backer, you're looking to get a digital book in digital form. This one's for you for sure. You pay what you see right there. So
Out of curiosity, what do creators typically do when they offer a digital file? Is it like a link to a Google Drive and then people download it, or?
I couldn't really tell you what other people do, but what I personally do is I used to do is a PDF, right? That is emailed to the person because you know how you put the email on the Indiegogo page when you back, so you send that to the email, and we usually used to send prints as well, like pinups, right? But what we're going to do this time is going to be a little different because it's not going to be a PDF and it's going to be a different format that is probably going to be. I don't want to spoil too much because
Right.
you get me talking, but it's going.
Okay.
Just know that it'll be worth it, and it's not going to be your average just PDF that you open up and that's it. No,
Gotcha.
It's going to be
All
great.
right. Say no more. Then we've got the graphic novel, cover A, ending A. So this is the physical printed book.
Yes, sir. And it's going to be it's going to be a glossy cover, a glossy finish, just like the Grim Reaper one, and it's going to have the spine, so it's going to be not staples, but perfect bound, right? So,
Yeah. I really like the way Grim Reaper came out. Grim Reaper. Let's see here. Graphic novel. All right, this is cover B, ending B, with Vinny Tartamella.
And we have that picture right there, but of course the cover is color, and you can find it at the bottom of the page. We really went through that, but if you're just joining us right now, that cover is fully colored, and it was made by Vinny Tartamella, and it has its own ending for the story. So.
Yep. And then we've got the elusive secret box.
That's right. WyzGyz can attest of getting that and being definitely worth your buck. It just comes with merchandise from the campaign, and for White Comics products in general. I know that with you we did shirts, beach towel, mugs, right, all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet stuff.
And of course the books and pinups and all that stuff. And so we want to go the same route, but of course we're going to be putting in there things that the secret box of Grim Reaper 2 didn't have. So every time we just come up with these original ideas, and we're gonna just be putting just cool merchandise in that box along with the books, of course.
Oh yeah, heck yeah. You this secret box probably gives you your own witch too.
Right.
That's pretty impressive. You got 3 claimed already.
I honestly thank you for that, because if it hadn't been for your review and your unpacking of the box the first time, people will be more reluctant of spending $300 on a secret box. I mean, people always tell me don't make people do something you wouldn't do yourself. But in this case, I personally would be reluctant to spend $300 on a secret box, but I know that you're gonna get good stuff. So,
Oh yeah, for sure.
but now that people have seen that that's the case because of your video review and your unpacking and your unboxing and all that stuff, I think it's an easier sell now.
I thought it was also a cute touch where Carla took the time to handwrite a little note breaking down the value of
Right.
contents of it. That was really cute.
Right. Yeah. We want to make sure that you know that you're getting what you pay for. So.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I hope I'm not mistaken. This one is free shipping. So.
Oh, nice. That's really cool. That goes a long way.
Yeah.
I will say that I got what was called the Pandora's box. I actually got 2 of them in the Grim Reaper 2 campaign.
Right.
And it is pretty cool stuff. Like John said, I ended up with a beach towel, which was totally unexpected. I got one of those magic mugs. So you put in a hot beverage, and then you gradually see the imagery come out from the pinups, the sexy pinups, and all kinds of cool stuff. And I'm a big fan of original art, and Carla's a digital artist. So it was a very special thing to have gotten, had an opportunity to receive original hand-drawn and inked art. And you can see how much work was put into it. There's so much detail. It was really impressive.
Oh yeah.
And then this tier, I always love when a campaign provides, it still shows, even if it's grayed out or whatever.
Right.
The closed out tiers, the sold out tiers, because it shows me what I missed out on. But it also kind of lends to the creativity of the creators of the campaign. See what kinds of cool stuff is in store. And this had the Be in the Book tier for up to 6 people. That's always fun. I got in the Grim Reaper 2, I got one of those tiers where I got drawn into the book. That was pretty entertaining.
Oh yeah. I like this one a lot. I love drawing in tiers. I think it's a super fun way to connect with the audience and with the fans. And they feel part of the story, and they are. And the cool thing is that we have some pretty cool. We had, because it's now closed, but we had some pretty cool characters to become in the book. Like you had the what you call those in English, the people who killed you when like back in medieval times where they'll cut your head or hang you. Oh man, I'm sorry, I haven't slept in forever. But the guy with the black mask over his head that it's not a butcher. I can't remember what you call it, but the executioner. That's the word. Right? So you can be the executioner. Of course, he won't have his face covered, but you can be the executioner. There was, just you name it. There was all kinds of things. A werewolf. So yeah, there were some good things there.
For sure.
So I'm happy for the people who got him. Yeah.
Absolutely. Lord Promoter WyzGyz.
That's right.
Well, I mean, it's easy to do when you're getting quality product. Right. So, was that the baby?
That's the baby. Yeah, she's already up and about.
My gosh, this looks like a sweet campaign. And
thanks, man.
I know. I'm glad we finally got to discuss Witch Hunter.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me again. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, always. You're always welcome. So I don't know how it happened, but I know I backed because otherwise I wouldn't have the opportunity to post a comment
Right.
it would say something like, "You must be a backer to comment.
Oh, well,
You shall not pass."
right.
But what's weird is, I rarely ever delete my email messages from Indiegogo.
Right.
I'm having trouble finding the one that tells me what my backer tier was, but
Well, I think I could tell you which number. You
Oh, yeah.
Give me 1 second. I will be able to tell you exactly what your backer number is. Let me see. Wait. Oh, I guess I'm not logged in. And okay, there you go. All right, now let's see what.
I hope that email didn't get deleted inadvertently. Oh, you know what? I wonder if this will help. For Witch Hunter.
Well, I guess they alphabetize the backers, so you're gonna be at the very end.
Okay. Oh, no big deal. It was just a curiosity because I got to have some record of it somewhere. I try to keep track of all this stuff in my email, organizing everything. Yeah, executioner.
But this is a good problem to have. Too many backers.
Oh yeah, heck yeah. So we are at 6026. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Let me drop the link again. Definitely.
Okay, I found you. So you actually got the secret box.
Oh, sweet.
Yep.
Yay.
You were actually contribution number 7.
Oh, dang.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you guys get funded on your channel the first day, like within 45 minutes or something like that?
Yes, we did. Yeah, we got funded on our channel, which is something that not a lot of people can say. That is good. I'm proud of that. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Because we might not have the largest audience on YouTube. Of course we don't, but we have the most active, fun, loyal audience. You guys kick ass. If you're part of that, I appreciate you so much. We have so much fun on our live streams, man, with the people on the chat and the people on the that join us and jump in, and you're welcome any day as well, my friend.
Oh yeah.
But it's just such a blast. It's just such a good time with everybody. So these guys not let us down, that's for sure.
Fantastic stuff. Let's catch this trailer again. For any creators who are looking for someone to make a trailer for their project, WyzGyz is really good. One other one is I think it's Ascension Cinema. He's pretty big too. So definitely check out these promo trailer creators because they do a really good job. Oh my gosh, that's pretty trippy. I just noticed this. The length of
is 111.
Yeah, 111. For anyone who's into numerology, that's pretty cool.
Must be witchcraft then.
I know. That effect. That's what I'm.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, that is so slick.
Renowned witch hunter Alden is faced with the most dangerous quest of his life when a powerful witch emerges to threaten Grimsby. With the fate of his people hanging in the balance, Alden must unite with an unlikely ally to free Grimsby from the claws of evil. Don't miss this masterful tale from White Cat Comics.
Witch Hunter.
Awesome. Let's
Excellent.
do a refresh just in case. It's always curious as to whether there are any new backers. Did I do it? Or? All right. Not in this case.
I think they might have been throughout the live stream at some point. I don't know if it looks like there's it's up by like $20 or so. I could be wrong, but I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is making some good progress. Roughly when are you guys shooting to fulfill?
So there's still time to get it. We're not looking to fulfill until around the October month or so.
Oh, cool.
But it usually comes before that because honestly, Javier is almost done. We are working on the last few pages, and not only are we working on the last few pages, but Carla with the colors is like she's like this, and so after that, it's just a matter of sending to print and all that stuff. But I don't want to promise something before that because life happens. Just last time we're promising something, the house burned down, and
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So
That was a crazy time, wasn't it?
Of course. So now, for sure, by that date, people will have him. All people, everybody. So, October is the safest bet for everyone to have the book already. Now, when we start shipping, it'll probably be a lot sooner than that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, babies are so adorable. Oh my gosh.
She started to make those cooing sounds. She's not she's not always crying anymore, but now she makes some cooing sounds. Yeah.
It may be too early still, but has she said her first word, or is that later on when they're 1 or 2 years old?
When she does what?
Says her first word.
I don't know. I hear it varies. But she already kind of talks in reality because she sits there and yells at us, and I don't know what sounds she makes, but and lays there and looks at us and like some sound like that.
Full blown conversations.
Right. They're not the most eloquent, but she tries. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome, Jennifer. Good to see you. Hey, WyzGyz Entertainment. How are you, darling? I'm working from home today, so I can't stay, but I just checked YouTube and saw you were on, so I wanted to say hi to you. John Gallagher in the chat.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. And if you can, check out the video on replay.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Daniel. Best streams ever.
Oh, for sure.
What about says, hail that beautiful witch and her wonderful ass titty. Hey, Alina Sophia.
That's my daughter.
Oh, yeah. All right. That's a pretty name.
Yeah. Well, you know what? So this is how you compromise. This is the best example of how you compromise with someone. I wanted Sophia and Carla wanted Alina. All right. And she wouldn't let it go. And so if anything, I was like, okay, well, let's name her Sophia Alina. And she's like, no, let's name her Alina Sophia. So it became a power contest, right? So I was like, okay, so why don't we do this? You name the girl, and whenever we have a boy, I'll name him. But she didn't like that because she knows I'll give him a crazy name. So what ended up happening is this time she gets to pick first name, but next time I'll get to pick first name, and we still use both of the names.
All right.
So I told her, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm always gonna call her Sophia, so she gets confused and never responds to Alina. But apparently children are not like dogs, and regardless, she's going to understand that both of those are her names. So. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, hail everyone. Indeed. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Now, what if you end up with a second daughter?
You know what? I've thought about that, and so what we have done. Because here's the thing: I don't want this to sound like I come from a place of selfishness, but you never know. You always want to have, I guess, that replacement for the man of the house in case you're ever gone. To take care of his sisters and mom. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It might be old fashioned of me to think that way, but I don't know. It's something like ingrained in our nature, I guess. And of course, you want to have that buddy of yours that you go hunt with, and I don't know, fish with, or play video games with them. You're gonna do that with your daughters 100%, but I think they're gonna have different interests. They naturally do. But they also have they also have a masculine side, and I think that's also important to cultivating girls. And not to say that they're all going to be tomboys, but they're going to go through stages where they like boy things. It's normal, and you gotta not shut that down either. You gotta support them in every stage, I think, and every interest, every likes. But so what we're going to do is we're going to try this 3 times, right? And I know this sounds super bad, but what we're going to do is so if next one, if it's a boy, then we stop. But if it's a girl, we're going to try one more time until we get a boy. Yeah.
Or you can always, build enough to have your own basketball team.
Right. Right. Yeah. But if we end up, with 3 daughters, then so be it. It's a blessing regardless, and I'm gonna love all 3 of them to death. I love this one to death already. She's
Oh
everything,
yeah. How could you not?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like portions of my extended family. It's like there are somewhere you've got a family of all daughters, and then there it is. You got families of all sons.
Yep.
And then still other areas where it's like literally 50-50, half daughters and sons, like 3 of each. So,
right. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
And having brothers and sisters is a nice thing. It's a really good thing for you, psychologically and in your development and in life in general. It's a really good thing. I wish I had a better relationship with my siblings. I'll tell you that. I didn't, unfortunately, not at least with most of them. I guess the closest I was to was my sister Angelica, but she had gone missing. She's already 2 years.
No.
That she ran away from home and never and so we haven't been in contact since. But she was probably the closest I was to. But I wish I had a better relationship with my brother, for example. We really don't, and I guess kind of my focus. I'm the oldest, so I never really pursue that. Now I kind of regret not doing it, So I definitely don't want that mistake to happen with my children. I want them to be more, I guess you could say, more united. You know what I mean? We weren't like that.
Well, there's still time.
Yeah. And I've seen some families like that. Where the children are always fighting, which is another form of playing, sharing everything there at home. And I want that, for them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I've always been of the belief in, whenever I quote unquote settle down and have a family, that if we have kids, that we have at least 2. So one can, protect the other, and they have each other's back.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, having brothers and sisters is a beautiful thing.
Sure is.
I don't want her to miss out on. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Jennifer says, absolutely. I will check it out tonight. Hi, honey, Daniel. Hey, darling. What about? Welcome to the Art of Read. Hi, gang. Hail. Jennifer says okay, I really should get back to work. Anyway, goodbye to all you angels. And Alina Sophia is an absolutely beautiful name, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, take care, Jennifer. Always good to see you.
Of course.
Daniel's family on his mom's side ended up with 4 daughters.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a beautiful aspect to that, but I can also understand how that's going to be very challenging. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah,
Well, like, oh, go ahead.
yeah. I mean, whatever comes, it's a welcoming. It's a welcome blessing. You know. So
Hmm. Yeah, in my case, it's like when I was married, well, I had my wife, then I had 3 stepdaughters,
hmm.
and then we had 2 female dogs.
Right.
So it's all
La-
female.
Lots of estrogen around,
Yeah.
right? Lots of estrogen. It can be challenging. I'll tell you, it can be challenging.
And
Uh,
excuse me, I was just going to add to it the fact that I came in on their lives during the preteens and teen years.
right.
So
Right.
it was interesting to say the
Oh,
least.
I bet. Yeah.
Oh man, I wanted to find out is Witch Hunter part of the same universe as Grim Reaper?
Great question, and yes, he is. We wanted to do like a Christmas special one of these years, where we're gonna match up, because you see, here's the thing: the Grim Reaper universe, it's in its infancy. Like how you had the Iron Man, and then you threw in there that Easter egg at the end of I guess was it
Shield.
Iron Man Shield or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Nick Fury.
they're going to be coming together one of these days, but we need more characters for that, and we're
Right.
working on that. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, so check out Witch Hunter back
Mhm.
if you can. Also, share it all over social media. Freaking cool looking book. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and because White Cat Comics has already released and fulfilled successfully 2 campaigns, they're trustworthy. They've built up a rep and they have an amazingly fun channel. Check them out on YouTube, White Cat Comics. They have all kinds of cool segments. Like you got Masked John Speaks, I believe.
Right.
And you also have Mangaka Mom, which is kind of a vlog,
Yes.
kind of showcasing her off time, and her doing like tutorials of anime tips and tricks on how to do anime and manga work.
Right.
And then Master John Speaks is like
It's political commentary.
Yeah, asking the hard questions
Right.
and informing the people.
Of course.
So yeah, really good stuff, really good content. Check it out on YouTube. I am going to give you the floor, John. Would you share how you can be found on social media?
Yes, thank you. I am on Twitter. My Twitter handle is actually a bunch of numbers, and that is John Ka. Kid you not, 749233137. Right? But you can just find me as John Gallagher, and I have a picture. The avatar is a Chinese flag, but with the tweet birdies. You can't miss it. You can't miss it. That's because I'm very political. I'm very political nowadays. I guess who isn't, right? So my Twitter is just filled with conspiracy theories and political stuff, and lots of comics too. So yeah.
Sure.
Follow me there, and then of course you will find my Twitter handle in case you have trouble finding me and all that. You will find that at the bottom of my campaign, Witch Hunter. Actually, the campaign is it was launched by Carla, so you'll find it on. And Carla is the person who's running the campaign, I guess we'll say. So you can find all our information regarding how to contact us, our YouTube channel, Twitter handles for both of us, and our email as well. At the bottom of the Indiegogo campaign, Witch Hunter.
Yep. Yeah, so check it out right here.
Yes.
All their contact information. Indeed. You can find me on Facebook and YouTube, WyzGyz Entertainment. On Twitch at WyzGyz Twitches. Twitter under WyzGyz Tweets. Hey John, what is the latest status on Parlay? Has it been literally shut down? Are they out of business?
Yes. So what ended up happening when migration, this mass migration happened from Twitter to Parler, what ended up happening was their servers couldn't handle the traffic, right? So they have had a few glitches here and there, but what happened right after that is that Google dropped them from the Google Store, and Apple did drop them from the Apple Store. So you basically couldn't find the app. And so if you had already downloaded the app, it was still there. I still had it, and of course, it could be found on their website. But their website was actually supported by Amazon. Amazon's
Web service.
web servers, yeah. But then Amazon decided to drop them as well. So they basically just run them out of town, and they had nowhere else to go. It's not a cheap thing to do, and it's not a thing that you could do overnight. Well, the latest I've heard is because of course you know how the left is and how they act, is that the owner of the company or CEO, founder, whatever, had to go into hiding with his family because of death threats and things like that. So it's unlikely that Parler will make any comeback anytime soon. So now the next migration is happening to Minds. Apparently, I'm not there yet. I was on Parler,
Right.
but I haven't really had the time to actually look into Minds. My understanding, I don't know if it's Minds or Gab. Gab is the other one that I've heard. I don't know which one of those two apparently is run by kind of this puritanical type of Christian people. So in reality, they're going to also police your speech just as much as the left nutcases are, because it's a religion, and they act like it. So so I don't know which one is the best one, but I think Minds is the one that's kind of best as opposed to Gab, but I could be wrong. I could get them all mixed up.
My perception is the same as yours there.
Yep.
I started hearing, it seemed like the initial migration was going to Gab, but then I started hearing things about, you got free speech as long as you follow this,
Right.
this.
Mm-hmm.
So they were starting to become, like what Twitter's becoming.
Yes.
A world of censorship.
Yes.
So I too am trying to figure out which is the best route to go, and it might end up being, shotgunning to all these other
right. But it's a funny thing because Minds is a great name for social media platform, and at the same time, it's kind of an ironic name, and I think a funny name, because I'm not gonna say who, but I saw a person who is completely brainless saying, "Hey, I'm on Minds," Are you sure? I don't know. That's just funny.
Balzette says never Gab.
Right.
Owner of Gab is a nutcase. Really?
Oh, there you go. So Gab is the one. Then I was. Yeah. It's crazy, and that's the thing though. Like I was saying about this person, saying, I'm now on Minds. People are asking this person why. And the person was like, I don't know what's happening. and I'm like, oh my God. I guess people don't really understand why so many are leaving Twitter.
Uh-huh.
But because I feel like most people are, I don't know, either oblivious to what's going on and they don't understand really what's at stake here. I don't know. Some of the conspiracy theories on the right say there's still some glimmer of hope that, I don't know, like mostly the QAnon people, who I believe 0.0 of what they say, think that somehow, something will happen and all of these corrupt politicians will be thrown into jail or whatever. I don't believe it. Now for 1 second. So I think that politically speaking, we're done. You know what I mean? There's no hope. There's no hope in that way, and the only hope moving forward is to change the culture. And that's the main thing, because politics will follow after. We have to change the culture, and we have to start fighting. And I think people who are freedom oriented, because I don't want to say conservatives, because they don't represent me, not one bit. But I think freedom oriented people, capitalist oriented people, free market oriented people need to start really getting into entertainment, education, things like that, right? Kind of to start doing the same thing that the left did when they infiltrated and started brainwashing all the kids at school and through the media and through the music, entertainment, and all that stuff. We kind of need to start doing that. The difference is that we actually have a good message, a message that makes sense, which is people want freedom, and people want the government out of their lives, and that's all we want. Just look, man, if you talk to me in the 90s, I wouldn't have cared or know what the hell's going on, because I was just living my life and worrying about myself and my family, and that's it. And that's all that it should be. You shouldn't have the government tell you how to live your life and what you can say and cannot say, what you can think and cannot think. And now even whether or not you can leave your house,
right?
So that's all we're fighting for here. It's really the right to live happily, make money, work hard, and all these things that have been taken away from us by a power-hungry government that grows larger and larger every day.
Yeah, well said. I wanted to thank everyone in chat. You guys are so awesome. I really appreciate you and your support. Appreciate you coming to these live streams and learning about these awesome crowdfunded ComicsGate books. I want to thank everyone who watches this on replay.
Yep.
You guys are also cool. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Mark the bell for notifications. And special thanks to our very special guest, Sunday John.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, man. Let's do this more often for sure.
Oh, yeah, we got it. Balzette says, we're fucked. We have Herbert the Pervert as president.
Right.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. And they're going to... I'm just... it's a whole other topic, but I'm just curious as to how short a Biden presidency will be before it gets converted into the Harris presidency. So
I give him 6 months in reality, but
I honestly don't think he has that long.
Yeah,
I think as soon as they can, they will just get rid of him.
Well, I think that already started going.
Yeah.
This whole thing with the 25th Amendment is not another. And the thing is, he needs to go gracefully, because a little known thing about the 25th Amendment is, when the vice president says that the president is not fit for office, it's really office for the president to just refute that and get back to work. All he has to do is write a letter and say, no, the vice president doesn't know what he or she's talking about. I'm good. I can still be president and still have my mental capabilities. So it's not that easy to get rid of a president. So Joe Biden needs to be in on it, and I think he will be. He needs to step down willfully, more or less, It's not just a matter of, okay, Kamala Harris wants to take power, so she would just say, hey, Joe Biden is too old or senile or has Alzheimer's or whatever, so I need to take over. No. The president needs to approve of it, basically, more or less. So, yeah.
Heal this stream. Thank you. Legally, it's 2 years and 1 day.
Right.
What was that in reference to again?
I think he's talking about the elections.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So thank you all again. We shall close this out. Be sure and back Witch Hunter.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Final guest is the only person below White Holiday in the ComicsGate phone book. It's my favorite failed clone of Peter Sammetti. The YouTube WyzGyz. How you doing, Conrad? Welcome to the show.